welcome back from the commercial break. We are concerned on how we can utilize the available potential of the mineral resource. I said it is our aspiration and desire that Uganda can be economically sustainable. We are just very soon to be celebrating independence. The economic independence seems to be lacking. Tonight, we continue that discussion in this third session, looking at what would have bridged the gap of earning from the available opportunities we have. We are rich, as retired Major Wick said, but yet poor. It is quite painful. You are rich, but you are poor. What does it mean? Not controversial. You have all it takes to be a rich person, but yet the ability to utilize the available potential is low. As Ugandans, can't we bridge this gap? Retired Major, we were talking about, and dear guest here, Dr. Aaron, we're talking about also the potential we have discovered in the mineral resource of oil. But of recent, some concerned stakeholders, either whom we borrow from some money, and that's where the problem comes from, where someone whom you borrow tends to enslave you. And at a certain point, reached on and said, the European Union, no, we think you are not doing what you are supposed to have done, or to have done in utilization of the oil. And the oil pipeline should be held. Retired Major, maybe you have some insight into that, because it left Ugandans worried, yet we were sure that we are progressing on well to have our oil, use it, and stabilize our economy.
Well, the issue of the pipeline and the European Union, I don't know whether the government persons who are actors in the area, I don't know how they understood it. I've been in the United Nations for 8 years, and at the top level as a human rights judge. So we make judgments and rulings, what we call concluding observations. Now, the drafting of a document, I looked at the draft of this resolution. This resolution, in my opinion, was non-binding. So I don't know where it hit the headlines. If you look at that resolution, it just says, it urges. So it's like an opinion of European Parliament. To me, it was not a legally binding document. It is an urge. So if it is an urge, then the contractual parties, like Total, can choose, I have been urged, do I go by it or not? So it was an urge. Anyhow, to me, that is the meaning of that resolution. So I don't know what is of Foreign Affairs or Concerned Ministry they make of it. The other thing is that, of course,
they had complaints referring to human rights abuses in the country.
Yes, in other words, it's not a binding resolution. This is what I'm making. It was a resolution to urge you to look into it. But the way it was taken, like European Union had ordered Total to get off. So I hope other actors in the Ministry of Energy, actors in the Attorney General's chambers, and actors in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs look at it like that. I will ask them tomorrow and see how they view it. But it was a resolution urging, it was a non-binding resolution. In my opinion, I looked at the text, I looked at the drafting. But of course, I would mention that we already talked about our Ugandans committing suicide, killing ourselves. It comes from many of our opponents, political actors. They think because you want to go to state power, then you can do anything to get there, whether it means that sacrificing the whole country. And yet the same actors who are voicing to decampaign this and going to European Parliament, they're the same people, even if they came to the government tomorrow, God forbid, even if they came tomorrow, they will still extract the oil. Meaning that he's acting merely in bad faith. Because even if he came to government tomorrow, he will not say, I stopped the oil. He will still extract it. So he's being dishonest. And this is how we spoil our country. Now, I've already mentioned the contractual relationship. Total, which is contracted to run the pipeline, knows very well the impact on breaching this contract. And I'm sure their country, France, would tell European Parliament. In fact, in such a kind of a resolution, even a country like France with an interest would abstain from it or would even oppose it in the European Parliament. I don't know what they did. But I think if France let it pass, I think France let it pass because the resolution, in their opinion, was inconsequential. Now, about environment, government is equally concerned. And government has that environmental impact assessment to mitigate all this, to be sure that we build the oil, but we don't sacrifice the country. We build the oil pipeline, but we don't sacrifice the country. Some people think government simply wants money. They are so naive about the country, naive about the life of people, which is not the case. So, about the oil pipeline is that the resolution was just, to me, is a non-binding resolution. All the matters rest with the contracting parties. That is Total and Uganda government. Of course, by implication, France, because France has interest in Total. Total is one of the French brand. If you talk it in terms of taxes, there is no other country which pays tax to France than Total. So I'm sure Total would not want the contract to fail.
Okay.
The best we could do is please do the issues that are raised. And we, as a government, we would want issues raised and issues will be addressed.
Okay, we appreciate that you are saying, and you have confirmed it to the viewers, coming from the NRM-led government. We do believe, and above all for external affairs, we believe these worries or threats will be, neutralized, and the issues raised that are pertinent be taken care of objectively. And as well, where there were complaints related with human rights abuses, which is a matter that was brought before Parliament, especially being, discussed both by even the Prime Minister and the leader of opposition to look into it, and also the tweet of Major Kando Tafiri. And there are many other factors as we draw to this discussion which can affect our potential. And because we are living in a global community, we must abide with the required rules. Having said that, Dr. Aaron Kimise, and who happens to be a glue in the academia, looking at the ICT, that is your area of specialization, how can we use ICT to improve the opportunity of tourism and mineral resource that can steer our economic growth?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator and colleague. I think ICT is very, very broad. It's a broad aspect that somebody can talk about. But what I could say, we need to borrow the best practices.
Can it in any way? Can it in any way steer up tourism sector and mineral?
Yes, that's where I'm coming.
Okay, sir.
I'm coming. I mean, the way I'm approaching to tell you. And I think this way I was saying about building our local content. ICT is going to help in that very seriously. If we are going to use it, building the local content, like for example, right now, we're using ICT to reach the world. This is already a content that is brought, and if it is true that our minerals are there, then it means we have to brand them using the ICT. ICT is broad. We have the software, and then we talk of the hardware. And what is selling right now is the software that we are having. And of course, we use the hardware to access the software. And even ICT is going to help us to build on the awareness.
Is that what you call e-tourism?
Yeah, e-tourism, precisely. That's one thing. E-tourism, and even right now, not only e-tourism, we're having e-health, agriculture. I think the Parish development model, the component of ICT must be ready to be in, not so. How would you reach the people and how do you assess your what? So the issue of ICT is very important, even in a way that on the side of the human resource also is going to be very important. Okay, so it is a blend. It's a blend and is very broad, if I can talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Now, what are the constraints that affected the growth of these two sectors, because by the end of our talk show, we'll be able to come up with proposals that can enhance a quick speed up of these sectors to do best, whether 10 times better. I'm a bit ambitious. Yeah. But now we'd like to first look at what are the constraints that should be known to us and to the policymakers.
Yeah, the constraints, I think I'll discuss it from the two sides, the pros and the cons, or I'll speak it from, I'll turn the constraints into the proposition, okay, to counteract the other. One of them, as I said, the private sector has not been really empowered so much, because with the private sector is going to come in, it encourages what? Innovation. That's one thing, that there's bidding. We shall bid, the government calls for the best bidder and be able. Like, for example, what happened in Jinja, I'm sure there have been a private sector. I think it was not a government arrangement for the Nyanganya, was not. It should have been a private one, and it brought a lot of what? A lot of money. So private sector is very important. And then also marketing, possibly should have been always poor. Promotion, like somebody said in Kenya, the promotion they did, it was a local promotion. I think Uganda, we are not far away from that model. If we can use it, that's another thing. It is quite amazing that somebody from the UK knows where John Speak stepped, whereas somebody, Msoga, from Kamuli, has never stepped in Jinja to see where John Speak stepped. And that one, it gives a lot of question even to the government. What is the problem? Are the people poor? Is it the mindset that we have to work on, the attitude? And which is not true that in Msoga, in Kamuli, people cannot afford a meal and all that to go, or to transport to go there. What? So the mindset, and also we have to look at the people. The promotion, I've talked about it. We have to boost it. And then we talked about the roads and all that. I think also is another thing that has been what. But my brother here has talked about that you can drive many kilometers, I think, and you're able to access what? To access them. And then also the human resource, I think is quite important. I don't know, maybe the government has put it as a priority also to develop these people, because also we have what we call hospitality. In fact, a few days I was talking to my colleague from the UK. That's why I was saying we have to borrow best practices. He's saying that the whites, especially from UK, they're opting to go to the Caribbean highlands than coming here. And for them there, they have big money. And if I can use the current word that youth are using, they say in Caribbean there's vibe. In Uganda, the vibe is not. It's not there.
Which vibe do they want us?
Yeah, the vibe, the people. You know, sometimes networks. I may not want to come in a place whereby people have low esteem and all that. But we have seen the Jamaican people. We have seen how they have stepped. The local people. This vibe, I mean, people are going there. I'm going to enjoy.
So for example,
we need to put the vibe.
For example, you mean, I'm picking up it from there.
Yes.
When you reach at like Entebbe Airport, it becomes deliberate by the government.
Yes.
They put like around 4 cultural people to be dancing 24 hours, so that when you come, either some are dancing Lango, dance, others are dancing, you know,
that's the vibe.
The Ugandan, they are putting on their traditional costume, and they show you what
they are tourists. Yeah, they have come, because when you see if you go and search on YouTube and all, the Caribbean people are lively. That's what, and the tourists wants to go where there is a vibe, where people are really what. So that's why
let me ask a retired major.
Yes.
You have traveled in many good countries. And what he's talking about, by the way, is quite interesting. And I was very much concerned when he said how other political competitors market the country. But also, apart from a number of good work we've been doing from the external aspect, how also have we tried to brand our country in terms of what we have? In some forums, whether both on our website and also physically, I was getting the big picture of it when he talked about the vibe. To you, as you compare Uganda and other countries, have we done best, and what should we do in order to market ourselves better and we outcompete those who tried either to speak negative on us?
I think we have tried, of course, but we haven't tried as much. including we should use what we call the E. And sometimes, you know, I feel this discussion, I don't want to really be only political. I want to share knowledge with people.
Yes.
For example, we take for granted when you say E something.
Yes, itualism.
Do you know that many people don't even know what email is?
Yeah.
The E part of it is electronic.
Electronic.
In other words, if you used to have PO Box 20, where you go to the post office and open the box and get the letter, now technology has made it to have, instead of those boxes in post office, have electronic mail, so that a letter is posted electronically. So I just like to share with the viewers something which appears obvious but is not obvious. So if you're talking of tourism,
yes.
we are talking of things that can be posted electronically.
Electronically.
Yeah. So I just like to share that because sometimes you take it for granted when it's not really for granted.
You're right.
I am sure if you stop people on the road and say, what is email?
Yeah, that is it.
Somebody will not know what is email. Email is electronic mail. Don't go to post office and open the box. Your letter can be posted to you.
You just open the phone and you read the letter. Yes,
so,
yes.
Now, about marketing or branding, a lot has been done. I think, first of all, the ministry is in place. We have a ministry for which handles the mandate of tourism. We also have tourism board in the country, which has the mandate, like it is an authority in this area. And then we have the individual actors like national parks and other institutions of tourism. So these are institutions that has been put in place to market tourism. Now, also the embassies. Embassies have direct brief to directly market the country. That is one of their mandate. And we have quite a number of embassies. So they're supposed to take activities to market the country. They're supposed to pick documents, materials to market the country, and they have tried it. Now, in the tourism authorities.
So when you compare other countries where you have gone to, the way they approach this matter of blending what they have in their country, and that's how we are doing it there, don't you think we need to bridge a gap? I would like you to appreciate where you have gone either, because this is like a comparative study, as you said, you want to share knowledge. And you say either in this country, either Turkey, you are there, they do it this way and this way and this way. I think in Uganda, if we did it this way and this way, we can begin to improve on our tourism. That's what
of course, I must admit that many countries have done it better. Even our brothers in Kenya, they have done it so much. For example, in Kenya, you have things like, which I've not seen here, or kind of a rail, something which moves you on top. Not very far, but a bit near, in the national park. So you move all over, you see animals as you're watching. But also the E part of it is that you can be with a click of a button to see all tourist interests or tourist opportunities, and you choose. So somebody in Washington, before he flies into Entebbe, you already has very easily identified details of tourist sites or tourist interest, and it comes really, and you would have been booked in and picked from the airport for that. We haven't done that much. We really haven't done it. We need to
improve.
But as I said earlier, institutional frameworks have been made and relevant laws there too. The laws have been passed regarding this industry, regarding this area, but comparatively, I must confess that many other countries have done better than. You can't go to the level of South Africa. South Africa is a big country. They have lots of national parks. But even then, they have developed it. Institutional framework has really been developed. Ethiopia, they have really done it. You can go to even the city center and you'll be taken where you see lion and all the tourist interests. So we haven't done so much. So we have the resources, but we have not done so much. We need to do it. We just hope that the ministries, like Ministry of Tourism, which sits in Rwenzori Court, incidentally with a state minister, is a full-line ministry with a cabinet minister and a state minister. And then you have the tourist board, and you have the, what is in the Kamusha? The other one in Kamusha, Wildlife Authority.
Wildlife Authority.
So we have institutional framework, and this institutional framework should get to business. And I'm sure they must have gone to see best practices. But I have traveled, maybe in Uganda, one of the most traveled people. I have moved all over the world.
The director of external affairs, you are.
No, I've not traveled so much in external affairs, but when I was in the UN as a judge of human rights, I was overseeing 193 countries. In other words, every country has periodic time to report to UN to show their compliance to human rights. Now, these countries bring data. Like if you ask about right to education, they'll tell you 99% of children in school. Now, it is upon us who have received those information to make follow-up visits to say in Brazil, is it true 99% of children in school? So it is through that UN system that I moved all over the world. Okay. So I am able to compare and contrast.
I think to extrapolate it from my colleague, I think maybe which I can give as a suggestion. Yes, the frameworks are there, but the implementation, the implementation infrastructure, and which I can suggest, this is now where the ICT is coming in on the infrastructure of the private sector, like you has talked about. Yes, tourism is not only in the ministry, but the university here. Give us a mandate. Let us be an implementation wing. Is another thing, because also we have an audience today. In local, these days there is a singer who said about Opwetegan also. You need to strategize. Is one thing.
In the education sector, how have you tried to prepare our country for developing the mineral resource and tourism?
That is it. Of course, what we are having for us, we are training ground. Okay, we are a training ground for the government. We are an agency definitely to the government, whereby we are training the human resource that is coming in, and which is one of the ingredients that we are talking about, which is going to act as a stimulus to the development of tourism, and as well as the mineral resource that we are doing. So we are contributing in that capacity. We do research.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we do research also in that perspective. As I was calling to the making a call to the government that we need to share also the funds if they are there. So we are here, the professors in public universities. We are the same professors who are teaching the people of Africa and world over. So we may need also, because research needs a lot of money to be carried out.
Thank you so much for your submission. We'll be coming back to during our last session, looking at substantial proposals, proposed recommendations that can help us, especially with the dealing with the area of the mineral resource. We lack to do a lot in the mineral sector. Much as we are talking about oil, but if one lists the number of minerals which are listed in the National Development Plan, we find that we are rich but yet poor. And that's one of the reasons why the white man came to Africa to utilize our unutilized mineral resource. And it's a responsibility of the government and the responsibility of the citizens to look at how can we do this best. Why are we still lagging behind to utilize our mineral resource and increase our economic potential and opportunities? Stay tuned as we come back for the last session after the break.
But it's a good one.